Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. My name is PTO Phil, and I'm here with my business partner, Nat True. We're all about helping people become better business people or just become business people. Good morning, Nat.
Good morning, Pete.
Woo! I'm pumped up today.
Well, what's got you pumped up today?
Oh, man, I got to tell you, I forgot something. I forgot how to be happy.
Well, if you know the secret to that, you'll definitely be a rich man.
Well, no, I was telling you in our prior podcast that I had this candidate that spent a half an hour telling me how the world is doomed and all that kind of stuff. And I told you that it really bummed me out from that standpoint. And you know, this idea, I'm always a half full glass of water kind of guy. That's the way I look at things. But I realized this guy had made my glass of water, even though it's half full, dirty.
Yeah.
It was murky. I was bummed out from that standpoint. And I thought about what I learned from my mentor, Darren Hardy. And you've heard this phrase before, right? Is that to be happy, you have to basically turn it all off. You got to not let this sensationalized media, the media that's out there trying to get us to click and to watch all this bad news, right? Because they have horrific headlines to grab our attention.
Yeah, I think it's a scientific, like they try to figure out ways to trick us into clicking or watching things.
Right, and people get addicted to it, right? They see that and they watch this and they read this and all that kind of stuff. And what most people don't realize is that when you read that, when you watch that, it weighs you down. It makes your water dirty, right? It clouds your mind and it sits with you. So if that bad news, it sits in the back of your mind and it skews. And by the nature of humans, the way in which we evolved is we try to protect ourselves. When bad things are happening, right, our DNA is designed to protect ourselves, to protect our survival. And so bottom line is it's hard to be happy when you're worried that, you know, this mountain lion is going to get you. And I say that jokingly, but we're wired that way. So you've I obviously read the book Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and he talks about this idea that our water is murky. Most people are murky because they're watching all this news and all this kind of stuff. So today, what I thought about was we talk about how do you stay happy in this crazy world?
Gotcha. I have a feeling you have some ideas, Pete.
Oh, maybe, just maybe. That's a shocker, right? So number one, I think the biggest thing for me is that I quit watching the news.
Yeah.
So I quit watching the nightly news. I quit watching any of the kind of the shows where they're basically just telling me all the bad things that are happening in the world. Like how many shows, news broadcasts do you watch where they share something really good? That somebody did something really awesome for the world. Because they don't get viewers that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, good news must not sell, right? That's what, just follow the money.
Yeah, right. Good news doesn't sell. And that's sad because there's a lot of people doing some really good things out there, but they have to get your attention because then you tune into that ad, that pop-up ad or the TV commercial or whatever, the radio commercial. Bottom line is they're not sharing anything good. So you don't gain anything by watching or listening or reading that kind of crap.
Yeah, that is, I totally agree with that. You have to, I think you and I being basically in sales, and when you own your own business, you're basically always in sales anyways. It's like you really have to protect and manage your attitude. Yeah. And so in order to do that, I mean, even like this might sound kind of extreme, but sometimes you have to even consider to like spend less time with negative friends or even family members if they're this, always Debbie Downer, because you do have to manage and protect your attitude and, provide for your family, right?
Yeah, well, you have to have a state, right? And if you buy into all this stuff, we talked about in our last podcast, right? You lock up, you turtle, you freeze up, and bottom line is we got to continue. I still have to continue to provide for my family. You have to continue. We have to live through this, whatever we're going to go through from a standpoint. And again, as we talked about in our last podcast, life's pretty good right now from a standpoint. So I think it's about turning it off. But but then I get people say, I can't, I get addicted to this stuff. And I understand that, but bottom line is you got to turn it off. But then they say, okay, wait a minute. I have to stay informed. I still have to know what's going on.
Right.
And the answer is, yeah, you do, but you can do that with a simple news feed. Things like that, where it's very short, it's very brief and stuff like that. And I want to share one that I always use, right? And my grandfather introduced me to this, probably 30 years ago, right? And he was a business person, and he used to give me copies of his Kipling newsletter. Have you ever read or subscribed to the Kipling newsletter?
No.
Oh, it is the greatest thing. So traditionally, it was on yellow paper. From that standpoint, it's a kind of a newsletter. It comes out every week, right? And he concisely goes through the state of the economy, what is going on, and it is non-biased. So he just kind of gives you what he's seeing, what's happening today in a factual position. And he's not making any kind of, I believe in Republicans, Democrats, or anything else. He just kind of gives it to you straight. Yeah. Well, now they actually do it digitally, so you can get it digitally. I still get the paper copies. I'm a paper guy. but this is an example of it's not negative. It's just, hey, we're seeing it. So, for example, this last one I got, it talks a little bit about logistics. What's going on with logistics, and then it has a section on what's going on in Canada and finance and investing and Congress, and he's kind of goes through all the kind of things: cybersecurity, media, retail, from that standpoint. And so it is a very comprehensive thing. So that's what I mean, is that you can stay informed in the right ways without taking down that attitude.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This is like a little bit changing the topic, but even for me, like I try not to check my email in the morning until after I've completed, my important tasks or things that I have to do, just because I don't want to get my mind started on all these rabbit trails, because email is almost the same as some of these news feeds, right? Where they're just blasting you, trying to get you distracted or to buy this or worry about that or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
that's one thing that's worked
protecting
well
your
me.
time, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with or that focus, I guess, would be the best way to say it. We, extreme productivity. I think of Darren Hardy's, that time blocking that you do, that I do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
that was one of the best events I've been to.
Yeah.
Most
absolutely.
helpful.
Yeah. So we turn off the news. We kind of stay away from people that are bad juju, right? If they're always got bad attitudes, stuff like that, we just, life is too short. And if I'm going to hang around people that raise me up, not bring me down from an attitude standpoint, certainly we protect our time, because that's another way to kind of suck it. Here's the next one, and I think it's controversial. And it is this: shut off the social media.
Yeah.
The Facebook.
I don't think that's controversial.
For a lot of people it is. I mean, they're hooked on it.
I know. Especially the kids and all that.
Oh, my wife is hooked on TikTok and all, I just like, and Facebook, and, I really hate to tell you this, but I could care less where you had dinner last night.
You don't need to see a picture of it.
Yeah, right. And I don't need to, feel bad that I'm not in Italy on vacation, going to wineries for 2 weeks from a standpoint. And, we're in a comparison world, and people sit there and go, God, they're living such a great life, and my life sucks, and, that kind of stuff. And I just, bottom line is, I think it's bad.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we just have in America and, lots of countries, we just have so much leisure time that we're filling it up with things. I mean, how much better would it be to go maybe, next door or down the street and go visit a homebound senior citizen, or go talk to somebody right?
Spend some time with your kids, or go do something to make yourself better, opposed to spending a half an hour on Facebook looking and that kind of stuff and all that negative, and I think it's a great way, but people are addicted to it, and it is, they don't want to give it up. But if you want to be happy, I mean, I shut it off. I never go on social media. I know there's a place for it in business, LinkedIn and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but it's more about, if you do, it is from a business aspect. It's not from a social gathering information kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, I think people would be a lot happier if they took a little social media fast or social media break, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we're all in control of our state and how happy we're going to be. And you have to protect that. And it's just so easy, as we started out the conversation, where somebody took my glass that's always half full, it made it dark brown, right? Muddy. And I allow it to happen. And so I'm not letting that happen again, right? So everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I don't have to do that. I'm going to stick with my plan of being happy and not watching the news and basically staying off social media and not hanging out with people that are negative from a standpoint.
Yeah, you have literally nothing to lose. Only everything to gain by doing that, right?
Right. So
we started doing a little gardening this summer. So it's like, go plant a garden, weed some weeds, or, it's just go walk the dog, go do something.
Yeah. And I got to deal with my wife, right? If she sees anything in the news or on social media where the world's going to end, right? I've just told her, let me know.
at least a few minutes before it ends.
Just let me know. So but I don't need to sit and watch and wait for that stuff. So all right. So Nat, go out there and be happy.
All right. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to the Hire Yourself podcast. For more resources, check out our website at hireyourself.com. And remember to subscribe to this podcast to receive each episode. Please leave us a rating, and we'd love to hear your feedback or suggestions for topics.